UFC Winnipeg, Burns Malott, just finished. I'm gonna recap the card for y'all. Guru has unfortunately RIP, has died. But you know what? Me and you, me and you, we're in this together. So I will take up the mantle. I even wore a beanie for my live fight companion. But let's just get this started right. Let's get this going. Uh, Jamie Siraj versus John Yanis. John Yanis puts Jamie Siraj out cold in round one. John Yanis looked good. He kind of had something to go for. You know, Jamie Siraj was just kind of getting knocked about. I wasn't able to watch this fight. But I watched Jamie Siraj get his head bounced around. You know, not the best stoppage ever. Jamie Siraj was there, but he was dropped before that, and it wasn't looking good. So it was a decent stoppage. You know, John Yanis put away Jamie Siraj in round one. He looked good. Oster Bannerford submitted him, but Oster Bannerford's pretty good. I should have known that. I just kind of took all the Canadians. Now that I'm thinking about it, I think I took every Canadian to win, which was a mistake. I don't do too well in the prelims, but I start. I get back later. You know, I swept the whole main card. But yeah, Jamie Siraj loses, gets KO'd in the first. Good work, John Yanis. Moving up, John Castaneda, Mark Volodin. Now, Hasbullah, this was a catch weight bout at 139. John Castaneda couldn't make weight. I don't know how. 5'6" and 5'3". How are you not making 135? You should be making 125. This guy used to be a featherweight. This kid to my left used to be a featherweight. I don't know how. But yeah, decent fight. Pretty fun fight, actually. You know, round one, it kind of went how I said it would. Whereas I thought it would be a split decision win for John Castaneda with him winning rounds two and three. And that kind of worked, you know. Round one, it's pretty close on strikes. John Castaneda did low blow Mark Volodin in the first round on accident, but dude, his crotch is right by his knee. Like, like Mark Volodin is head, chest. There's no neck, so it's head, chest, groin, and then knee, leg. That's how it is. Like his groin is right by his knee. So John Castaneda goes for like a inside leg kick as Mark Volodin jabs him. So he gets hit in the face with the jab, and his leg kick, low kick, goes up, and right in the groin of Mark Volodin. Nut shots him in the first, but besides that, it's pretty even on rounds. Pretty even. Just Mark Volodin landed the better shots, landed the crispier shots. Had John Castaneda, I want to say wobbled, maybe not wobbled, but he landed a shot was like whoa, that shot landed pretty well. Besides that, tappy low kicks from both. Mark Volodin switching a lot of stances, so John Castaneda's low kicks weren't doing as good, but Mark Volodin was also hitting the heavier low kicks. Castaneda would have like three low kicks, like go like, and then Mark Volodin lands one low kick. It's like, pow. So maybe Mark Volodin was just sitting a little bit heavier on it. But round one, Mark Volodin wins. That's the round I said he would. And then round two, John Castaneda starts finding his groove, starts landing his 1-2, his big meaty right hooks, some decent body kicks and leg kicks and stuff, and he's working Mark Volodin, and he's got him up against the fence. He started pressuring a lot more in the second and third rounds. That's kind of how he found the way to win. And so he pressures Mark Volodin up against the fence, goes for an inside low kick. He likes to do like a low kick into like a 1-2-3, but he low kicks it into a nut shot. And Mark Volodin's kind of like, he's like looking away from that nut shot, and then Castaneda hits like a good like 2 or 3 combo on Mark Volodin as he's looking away, and he doesn't put him away. Herzog takes a point away, which is fair. He nut shots twice. But Hasbullah, like I said, it's like nuts are here, and then like his knees are right here. So you just like go for the inside leg kick, and it just gets swooped up into the nuts. Unfortunately, so they take a point away. John Castaneda wins this round, landing the better shots, landing more shots, stinging Mark Volodin, almost finishing him. I want to say like twice. And so round three, I go, all right, well, John Castaneda's got the momentum. He's looking good. He can get a 10-8 and win this thing. And when I tell you John Castaneda literally threw this fight away, he did. He did. So John Castaneda comes out, fire blazing. He knows if I want to get a win, I either got to get a finish or a 10-8. And He starts. John Castaneda enters the flow state. I want to say 3 minutes in, like for the first 3 minutes of this round. John Castaneda's in the flow state. Hands super low, but he's dipping and dodging. Good head movement. Mark Volodin left his lead hook, and John Castaneda would dip underneath that and then throw something of his own. Someone landed a nasty KO off of doing the same thing later. But yeah, a lot of head movement, a lot of slipping and dodging, and Castaneda was just piecing up Mark Volodin up against the fence, almost finishing him like a couple times, really close couple times. He'd almost finish Mark Volodin, but Hasbullah's got a chin on him, dude. He's got a chin on him, so he stays in there. And I want to say 3 minutes, 2 minutes are left, maybe a minute's left. John Castaneda's kind of beating up Mark Volodin, clinches and shoots a couple takedowns. Not takedowns, but he just clinches up with Mark Volodin a couple times for no reason, like we're retarded. And then he separates, circles out to the middle of the cage, and points down with a minute left. And he had almost finished Mark Volodin. Mark Volodin was on the ropes, but now he's given, oh, this is my chance to get a finish. And he gets a burst of energy. Mark Volodin comes out swinging, and then he's sending John Castaneda flying backwards. And Mark Volodin's like, I thought we were going to stand and bang in the center. And they kind of trade, Castaneda's doing better at slipping. Mark Volodin's head's kind of on the center line, not really moving too much. But you can tell Mark Volodin's got that power. He's not cutting as much weight. He's kind of bulked up and muscular, and he sits down on his shots, which is probably why he doesn't have too much head movement. And he's hitting Castaneda with the bigger shots. So, what could have been a 10-8 for John Castaneda with him almost finishing Volodin like 3 times turns into a brawl at the end to kind of decide the winner. I guess Castaneda just wanted Mark Volodin to be out of position so he could land a clean KO. But no, Mark Volodin throws away the tool bag. I will say Mark Volodin threw, I want to say, at least one Rolling Thunder per round. At least one Rolling Thunder per round just to get it out there. He starts round 1 like randomly with it. Doesn't really hit Castaneda. He throws again in round 1, hits Castaneda partially with it. Round 2, he hits at the very end like a buzzer beater kind of Rolling Thunder. Because that's the thing about Rolling Thunder. You can throw it at 1 second left, and if it KOs him, dude, I was just throwing the Rolling Thunder with 1 second left, and you got KO'd after the bell. That sounds like a you problem. And then Mark Volodin throws a body kick, loads up, throws a Rolling Thunder, and it hits the back of Castaneda's head. Like the heel hits the back of his head. He kind of falls down, has to go shooting on a double on Volodin. Volodin doesn't get it. They stand up, and he wins round 3. I think it was pretty obvious that he won round 3. Just look at the strikes: 83-29, 65-29. He was piecing them up for I want to say 3 minutes and 30 seconds of that round. But he wanted to be a showman. Like I said, maybe he just wanted Mark Volodin to get confident and then he'd catch him. But he could have finished him up against the fence, or he could have just knocked him down once or twice and gotten a 10-8 and won that. But John Castaneda, the sexy Mexi, is retarded. And Mark Volodin, he survived the beating. Threw a Rolling Thunder a couple times. One landed pretty well. So pretty fun scrap, draw. Draws aren't the most fun thing ever. That's 2 weeks in a row or whatever where we've had draws. But you know what? I don't care. They're kind of fun. So yeah. I picked John Castaneda to win by a split decision. Win rounds 2 and 3. He would have if he didn't low blow Mark Volodin. But moving up. So the complete robbery that was J.J. Aldrich, Jamie Lynn Horth. Now, I was kind of halfway watching this fight. I kind of stole some viewers from MMA Guru because people were realizing he wasn't going to go live, so I was trying to snatch up some audience. But I was watching this fight, and basically what it was is they were shadow boxing at range. Jamie Lynn Horth would go for a low kick, a step in knee 1-2, and Aldrich would time that step in knee with her own 1-2, and they just miss each other somehow. They were basically standing in front of each other, throwing 1-2s and still missing. It was amazing. But Jamie Lynn Horth was hitting J.J. Aldrich with some mean right hooks. She would blitz in randomly every minute or so. Let's say 2 minutes. Every 2 minutes, she would blitz in, left hook, right hook, left hook, right hook. And I want to say twice. Round 1, she caught J.J. Aldrich on the chin with a right hook that kind of sent her stumbling back. And that's kind of the whole thing of the fight. So 9-23, 7-21. They scored this round for Jamie Lynn Horth. That's pretty easy. And then 16 to 22, 16 to 21. Jamie Lynn Horth just again outlands JJ Aldrich. They scored this round for JJ Aldrich. Round 3, 27 to 28, 27 to 28. Basically even, dead even. And they still scored it to JJ Aldrich. Unanimous, by the way. Not a split decision. Unanimous decision for JJ Aldrich. Insane. Jamie Lynn Horth was the Canadian, but they had no left for her. She got robbed. She got robbed. Let's see. So round 1, 11 to the head, 5 to the head for both. 8 to the body from Horth. 8-0 to the body from Lynn. 2 to the legs from each. Wait, is this who's getting hit? Does this mean Horth is hitting here? Like Horth hit her in the head 11 times? I don't know what this means. I'm guessing it's like she hit to the head 10 times, 12 to the body, 6 to the legs, and Horth hit 9 more times to the head, maybe. So that's how they're counting it. She landed more shots to the head, even though Horth was out voluming her. I don't know. I don't really care. It was a robbery. I should have gotten this one right, but it's a women's WMMA. So I got 2 women's fights wrong because guess what? Melissa Croden gets a win over Daria Zelenikova. And Zelenikova looked good. Round 1, completely stout on Melissa Croden, out jabbing her. I don't know. These significant strike numbers always worry me because it's like, what are you talking about? What are we talking about? 15 to 14. Melissa Croden won round 1. Just outstruck her, keeping her on a jab, just kind of in and out. Croden, not the good on round 1, but then round 2, Croden's like, well, I'm a man. I'm more of a man than you, so I'm just going to kind of walk forward, take all your best shots, and then just smother you with some work in the clinch. And that's what it was for rounds 2 and 3. You know, she would get the takedown, she'd work her in the clinch. You know, Zelenikova does not like being smothered, and that's what Melissa Croden was doing really well. She was smothering her really well. Daria Zelezniakovia. There we go. Zelezniakovia likes keeping it at range. She likes a clean little striking match. And Melissa Croden made it a little bit nasty, you know, so she started working her in. And then it looked like Zelezniakova just kind of broke. She just broke mentally and like gas wise. Melissa Croden was just keeping that pressure on her. You know, 49 to 39, 3 takedowns, 1 submission attempt, 27 to 13, and then round 2, 27 to 14, 1 takedown, 31 total strikes. She was just outworking her. She had more of a doll. Like I said, she was more of a man. I said in my prediction video that Melissa Croden looks like a man. That should have been enough for me to pick her, but I didn't. So yeah, Melissa Croden wins a decision. Surprise, surprise. Moving up, Tanner Bosner, Gokhan Sarikam. And I will say Tanner Bosner looked good. You know, round 1 he did get dropped. I guess no knockdowns. He did get dropped or hurt something pretty badly, but he was standing there with Gokhan Sarikam. He was hitting some good shots. He kept on ducking in and throwing his right overhand, left overhand, right hook, kind of like swimming almost. He's like, oh, he's swimming. And that would sometimes work, but Gokhan Sarikam just stayed upright, stayed technical, kept that jab on him. And Tanner Bosner, for all of round 1, was hitting him with some nasty low kicks. I mean, let's look at round 1. 9 low kicks to 3, 11 to the head, 20 to the head from Sarikam. Round 2, he started stepping it up with the leg kicks. Tanner Bosner did. He goes, all right, those leg kicks worked in round 1. Let me just keep on doing them naked. So he's doing some naked low kicks, and Tanner Bosner times lands a perfectly timed 2 down the middle. As Tanner Bosner's going for a naked leg kick, sits him down, puts him out. A good win for Gokhan Sarikam. I trusted the GOAT, Tanner Bosner. You know, he beat the legendary Felipe Lins, you know. He's the GOAT. He was on the regional scene, and he was so good. He fought on the regional scene once, and they had to instantly pull him back on the UFC for this Canadian card. But Gokhan Sarikam won. Had a decent little thing on the mic. He goes, I'm sorry, Canada, but the man who will knock me out is not born yet, or something like that. It was pretty sick. pretty slick. But yeah, Tanner Bosner gets KO'd, fluked it over the goat. We will be back because we are Tanner Boser. Sorry, I've been calling him Bosner, but it's Boser. But yeah, good work from Gokhan Sarkam. By the way, I am not gotten a single fight right. If you don't count this, I am 0 and 1, 0 and 2, 0 and 3, 0 and 4. I'm basically, I got that right. So I'm 0 and 0 and 1, 0 and 2, 0 and 3, 0 and 4, and guess what? I'm 0 and 5 now. I'm 0 and 5. Julian LeBlanc, Robert Valentin. I said it in my prediction video. Julian LeBlanc looks like he couldn't hurt a fly. And I should have picked it off of that because Robert Valentin looks like an MMA fighter. Julian LeBlanc looks like a creative character that you make to laugh at. You know what I'm saying? He looks like a Skyrim character. Julian LeBlanc looks like a Skyrim character that is running the Honeydew Tavern. He's running the Honeydew Tavern. He's got his cabbages. He may sell you like a trinket. That may be Julian LeBlanc's kind of thing. He'll sell you like an amulet for +5 speech. But it just doesn't look like, he could do no damage to you. He'd probably call the guards on you if you punched him. He's got 20 gold in his pocket, maybe a soul gem, and then maybe a garnet. You're like, why does he have a garnet? You know what I'm saying? Julian Blanc's a Skyrim character. He's roaming the lands. He's roaming Whiterun right now. We don't even know. And Robert Valentin looks like an MMA fighter. I should have picked him. Robert Valentin, heavy low kicks. 3 heavy low kicks to start off the fight. Body kicks. They trade body kicks. No really punches were thrown. It was all kicks. And then Julian LeBlanc gets backed up into a corner. It looked like Robert Valentin was bullying the poor kid. He nuggied Julian LeBlanc, wedgied him, gave him a swirly, and then subbed him out cold, Subbed him. Julian LeBlanc was fighting for that rear naked choke for a long time, so I do have to give some respect for actually fighting that rear naked choke with everything he's got. But at some point, Valentin just got that rear naked choke locked in, and he got a first round submission for Robert Valentin. Good for him, He said his mother died on his last fight week. So this was a feel good story for him, and I did say I wanted him to win. So I'm very glad that Robert Valentin won. He's a funny dude. He says some base stuff on Instagram. I don't know if you've seen what he's posted on Instagram. I just think AJ Cunningham may agree. Bryce Mitchell may agree with what Robert Valentin's been posting on Instagram. But yeah, great work from Robert Valentin. I get another one wrong. I'm 0 and 5. I'm really doing an MMA Guru tribute. Went 0 and 5 on the prelims. But then guess what, pal? Mauricio Barbosa takes my losing streak away. Breaks it, because this guy is nasty. Mauricio Barbosa, not much to say. They go in, they trade in, they're swinging hooks. Barbosa ducks a lead hook from Buzukja. Buzukja overthrew his lead hook, so now he's fully turned this way, and he's still covering back, and he tries to shell up, and he's doing a tight shell like this, and tries to turn with it, and it hits him, bink, right on the jaw. Right on the teeth almost. Nasty left hook from Barbosa. Puts him away. Flatlines him. He is gone. He's gone. Walk-off KO from Mauricio Barbosa. Insane stuff. Nasty KO. Dennis Buzukja, he came into trade and he just doesn't have that that dog in him that Mauricio Barbosa does, dude. And Mauricio Barbosa hits like a truck, dude. Knocked him out cold. It was a full couple minutes before Buzukja woke up. I'm pretty sure. Or something like that. But yeah, insane KO from Mauricio Barbosa. He snaps my losing streak. I'm now 1 and 5. And guess what, dude? The streak isn't done because Gage Young. Now, I will say this was not a split decision. I very obviously had it. Gage Young winning 2-1, winning rounds 2 and 3. I thought Gage Young could get this done. Thiago Moises, he just hasn't looked the best recently. He's old. Even though he's not even that old, he's 37. But Gage Young, he's that fight against Casal Killed showed me that he's got something to him. And this fight was the perfect fight. He was on the front foot a lot. Thiago Moises, round 1, is kind of outstriking him a little bit. Gage Young's kind of worried about the takedowns. He's worried about getting subbed out. and Thiago Moises uses that to get some low kicks off, get some 1-2s down the pipe off, and he gets a takedown on Gage Young. And Gage Young basically has to deal with Thiago Moises on his back for the rest of round one. So it was pretty even, and then Thiago Moises ends up on Gage Young's back, doing like a standing body triangle at some point. Then they have to sit down. Gage Young's like in a kind of a twister position where like his hips are facing forward and his head is down in Thiago Moises' armpit because he tried to roll with it, but Thiago Moises had a tight body triangle, so he wasn't able to roll into full mount, into full guard. So Gage Young was kind of like stuck in between, like having his back taken and also being stuck in a guillotine all at once. I was very scared, but Gage Young survived. Very toughed it out till the end of round one, and then round two, it seems like something just clicked in Gage Young because round two, 9-13, 2 takedowns for Thiago Moises, 1 reversal for Gage Young up against the fence, 8-9. Round two, Gage Young just figured something out, dude. He figured something out because he had Thiago Moises' number, dude. 14-44 significant strikes, 14-44 total strikes, 0-4 takedowns for Thiago Moises. Gage Young starts just low kicking like crazy. He starts tapping away with low kicks, front kicks to the body, 1-2s, slipping off of Thiago Moises' jab with his own right hand. Or did Moises do that? I think Moises was wanting to do that. But he was keeping him honest. Gage Young was started working with hand fighting a lot in late round 2 and early round 3. I'll tell you some crazy stuff that happens in round 3, but Gage Young starts to enter the flow. He starts feeling good, his hands are getting a little low, a little too loose for my likings, but he's popping his jab, he's moving in and out, he's low kicking, he's body kicking, he's front kicking to the body, he's 1-2 slipping around to the left or right. Thiago Moises would shoot a deep double leg, and Gage Young would just sprawl out. Some nasty sprawls from Gage Young. Get in the clinch real quick, throw a knee to the body, separate. Thiago Moises did not like those low kicks. He did not. And in round 2, it started working where he was kind of like had to stay in the one spot. Moises was just stuck in one spot. Gage Young was just flying around him, in and out, popping a jab, popping a 1-2. Good 1-2s to the body, too. Really good body work from Gage Young every now and then. He'd just work it in subtly to make Moises keep guessing. I will say he worked those leg kicks throughout the whole fight. No head kicks? We ain't whipping up at least one head kick in the third? I don't know. That's something for later, Gage Young. That's from me to you. I picked you, so me and you are tight now. From me to you, just whip up a head kick in the third at some point in that round. I know you don't want to be taken down, but at that point, I think you were quicker. You had the better cardio, so you could have gotten a head kick, and if he throws you over, you could probably get have scrambled up before Moises found anything. But yeah, great work. And then round 3 is really when he starts to flow. 23-74, 23-69, and he knocked him down. Yeah, Gage Young just started just balling out. He started doing basically O'Malley stuff. He was playing basketball, dude. He knocked down Moises twice, actually. I don't know why it says once. He knocked him down twice. I want to say really 3 times, maybe a couple times where he dropped and Moises got wobbled and he kind of set himself down. Do the Charles Oliveira thing where he's sitting, wanting you to come into his guard. I will say, I'm pretty sure Gage Young knocked him down twice. Knocked him down twice in the round 3, but I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy. But, Gage Young was looking really good, dropping Moises in and out. And I will say, towards the later part of round 3, Moises started finding him with that lead hook. Not really letting Gage Young initiate. When Gage Young initiates the striking, the boxing, he's really good. He can get in and out quick. He'll do hand fighting, step and elbow, hand fighting, elbow. Throw that hand down, pop a jab, grab that hand again, knee to the body, throw both hands, 1-2 to the body. Like I said, keeping you guessing. And, Thiago Moises just goes, all right, I'm just going to go first and not let Gage Young get any of his setups going. And that started working, but, Gage Young just kept it going. They pointed down, started swinging the pocket. Moises was hitting some good shots on Young, but, Young was firing back still. He was staying in there. He's got, Moises was landing some crazy shots on Young. Not all the time and not KO blows, but something good that should have stung, and Gage Young kind of took him with a grin. So great work from Gage Young. I don't know how you give Moises round 2 or 3. he just got dominated. I guess maybe round two, but even then, dude, 14-44, 23-74, 23-69 with a knockdown. I don't know how that was a split decision. They tried to rob my boy Gay Jump, but they couldn't. Um, and we're on the main card, by the way. Yeah, that was the first main card fight. That's crazy. And then Jasmine Judavicius, Karina Silva. I got scared. After round one, Jasmine Judavicius is kind of just there. Let me reset real quick. That better? Yeah, this. Oh no. Well, okay. There we go. Do we have? Yeah, we do. Okay. Anyways, Jasmine Judavicius just kind of stayed at range, was really keeping Karina Silva like at range, and Karina Silva was just chopping her inside leg, low kick, low kick, low kick, low kick, and I go, oh, Karina Silva may just win this by out tippy tapping her at range, but Jasmine Judavicius shoots a takedown, ends up in full guard, and Karina Silva does like an omoplata or a go-go plata or something in a weird precarious position on round one where it's like, what the heck is happening? Wins round one just because she was being busy on the bottom. Jasmine Judavicius kind of has to survive the sub attempts. I think how many oh, it won't say. 2 sub attempts throughout this whole fight for Karina Silva. Yeah, significant strikes 1-7, 1 takedown for Judavicius, but nothing really. And then round 2 is where Judavicius starts getting these takedowns, but instead of trying to go land in full mount, she starts really making an effort to land in side control or in half guard or anything but full mount, where Karina Silva can't really do her go-go plata, where she's very flexible, Karina Silva, so she lands in half guard or side control. She's not able to use that flexibility too much, round 3, she starts to be able to use it, but Jasmine Judavicius gets a takedown, takes down Karina Silva, just starts beating her up on the floor, not really beating her up. The ground and pound was, a lot to be desired on the ground and pound for Judavicius, but, so round 2, same thing. She just takes her down, mauls her, stays on top, does some busy work. Round 3, same thing, but Karina Silva had like a buggy choke in at some point, which was a little scary, but nothing really too locked in. 2 submission attempts for Karina Silva this round, a buggy choke and like guillotine or something crazy. But Jasmine Judavicius, she wins. This was a unanimous decision somehow, even though Gage Young was a split decision. Crazy. But yeah, Jasmine Judavicius, she won. Not the best look ever, Made a lot of work out of Karina Silva, but Karina Silva's decent. But she lost to Macy Barber, so maybe not. But yeah, decent. Jasmine Judavicius, she got a win in Canada. Good for her. The Canadians start. Yeah, I guess Canadians start really winning, except for this next fight, Mandel Nallo versus Jai Herbert. I told you. What did I say? I see a hint of Indian in Mandel Nallo. And guess what, dude? He's got that Indian in him. Because first off, Jai Herbert almost gets flatline KO'd within a minute into this fight. Within a minute to this fight, Jai Herbert gets head kick KO'd. And poof, 1 life gone. Jai Herbert used to be a cat or something. He had 9 lives. He used about 8 of them. 7 or 8 of Jai Herbert's 9 lives were used tonight. Because he was flatline KO'd. Poof, went back up. And then he'd run away. And while running away, Nallo would hit him with his 2 down the pipe and just hit Jai Herbert while he's trying to exit the pocket, and poof, he's down again. It's like, oh my goodness. Dude, 3 knockdowns apiece, honestly. Oh, dude, they're so gay with their knockdowns, dude. That was like 2 knockdowns for her. Like, if you get dropped to a knee, that's a knockdown. Like, if you go from standing to where you've level changed without your own, if you're standing up straight, and you get hit with a punch, and that forces you to change levels without, I guess, your consent, or without you deciding to, without you choosing to change levels, you change levels, that's a knockdown in my opinion. So Mandel Nallo got like 3 or 4, I want to say 3 knockdowns, because Jai Herbert's just running away from the fence, and he'll get dropped to one knee while he's running along, and then he starts cracking back. And Mandel Nallo, like I said, he's got Indian in him, dude. He's got Indian in him. Jai Herbert finally starts manning up instead of running away. He goes, all right, we're going to swing, let's swing. Meets Nallo in the pocket. Right hook, sends Nallo flying to the floor. Knocked out. Stiff as a board. He wakes back up. Obviously, very biased, the reffing, because Jason Herzog was like, all right, I'm gonna let Mandel Nallo die real quick just to give him a chance to get back into this fight. He was just letting Nallo die. Because on the first time that Jai Herbert dropped him, I was like, oh, it's over. Some crazy ground and pound, some gay hammer fist from Jai Herbert. Come on, dude, let's not be doing that. But, some hammer fist from Jai Herbert, and Mando Nallo's like, and he's getting hammer fisted. He goes, oh, I'm in a fight still. Okay. And he stood back up, and then Jai Herbert just right, right, right hook to like kind of like the chin or temple or behind the ear. Doesn't really hit, but then left hook right on the chin, sits Nallo down one last time, does some a little bit better ground and pound, puts him away in the first. I told you Jai Herbert could put him away in the first. I'm gonna go with the decision, but Jai Herbert could put him away in the first, and that's what happened, dude. Mando Nallo's just too Indian, dude. He did start a lot better than I thought he would. Low kicks, body kicks, head kicks, catching Herbert quicker than I thought he would, but you just don't have the chin for the game, pal. It's nice to see Leon Edwards get back in the win column, dude. Leon Edwards is back in the win column. Congratulations to him. Congratulations to Leon Edwards. You're back, dude. You broke the welterweight curse. You're a lightweight now, though. Edwards must have moved down a weight class. But great one from Jai Herbert. I got the underdog. Got the underdog. Favorite. Gage Young was a favorite somehow. And then Kyler Phillips, Charles Jourdain. Kyler Phillips looked actually pretty good. After the Vinicius Oliveira fight, I was like, dude, Kyler Phillips looked awful in the Vinicius Oliveira fight. But, he was doing a heavy grappling approach for this round. And Charles Jourdain can scramble pretty well, but Kyler Phillips was really good at staying on top within these scrambles. Of course, Charles Jourdain would threaten some submissions. A lot of Kimura attempts because Charles Jourdain likes to use that Kimura grip as leverage. To move himself around or move you around, but it wasn't really working with Kyler Phillips. So round one, Jourdain just throwing. By the way, Jourdain, I know you're Air Jourdain. Let's lower this output of these flying knees, shall we? We're throwing 8 flying knees a fight. That's not needed. Okay, I know you got a flying knee KO over Davey Grant where like you flying kneed him and then you guillotined him out cold. That's cool and all. Let's be a little bit more, conservative with our flying with our flying knees, all right, from now on. But yeah, Kyler Phillips, like I said, he was doing some control. Jourdain cuts Kyler Phillips towards the end of round 3 with an elbow from bottom. But it was a Kyler Phillips round. He was staying on top control. The thing is, he just wasn't doing anything with his top control. 3 out of 4 takedowns. He just wouldn't do any. Like, he had some ground and pound attempts, but nothing really like damaging. No cuts, no bruises really from Charles Jourdain. Kyler Phillips just isn't really hitting anything to cause damage, while Jourdain kind of was on the back. And then round 2, Jourdain just starts landing a little bit better. He got his own takedown, reversed a little bit, and just started landing better shots. Started landing his jabs, his twos, down the pipe, body work too. Jourdain was just doing a lot better in round 2 because Kyler Phillips kind of has a gas problem. He did keep up with Charles Jourdain, so respect to him, but when you go for that heavy of a grappling approach, dude, and you're scrambling that much in round 1, he kind of took round 2 off. Was like, all right, I'm just gonna survive. And Charles Jourdain was hitting him with some crazy stuff. Wins the round, and then round 3, I mean, it's closer, but yeah, 2 out of 5 takedowns for Phillips. 3 takedowns for Jourdain, but 22-35, 20-31. It was looking like a Kyler Phillips again, just winning off of grappling, dominance, like staying on top, getting his takedowns, not letting Charles Jourdain do what he wanted to do on the ground. But then Jourdain at some point cuts Kyler Phillips over the right eye or something, and Kyler Phillips is bleeding badly over his right eye. It's looking bad. And Jourdain wins it, He gets that second and third. Like I said, if you're really, really nitpicky and judgy, you could have maybe given him the first if you're a Canadian judge. But yeah, great one for Charles Jourdain. I mean, Kyler Phillips is difficult, but I was expecting for him to weather the storm of round 1 and then get a finish in round 2, but he couldn't do it. But good. It was good work, decent work. Let's just chill out on the jumping stuff. Charles, come on, Charles, come on, Air Jourdain. Let's not do so many jumping stuff when we're gassed out in the third. All right. A great win from Charles Jourdain. He looked decent. He's a different guy at bantamweight. He's not getting KO'd by Gene Silva at featherweight anymore. Now he can go to war with Kyler Phillips and kind of make it gritty. Moving up, main event. Mike Malott, Gilbert Burns. I will say, Mike Malott, you're on fraud check, pal. Gilbert Burns, it takes you 3 rounds to finish him, and even then, Gilbert Burns is kind of chewing up your lead leg, dipping in, hitting you with some overhands, some nice lead hooks too. Like, he did not look good, Mike Malott does TKO Burns in the third. Burns did retire, R.I.P., not R.I.P. to the legend. Burns had a pretty cool career, never got the belt, but he fought some really good guys, gave that Chimaev performance, he dropped Usman guys, but yeah, Burns, he's a cool guy, he's a nice guy, he brought his family there. I don't like, bringing your family there to watch you get dropped twice and then KO'd, not the best, but, Burns ended it with a hero celebration. People were saying, Gilbert, the gayest thing to chant. I'm just saying. I would rather have a Burns chant than a Gilbert chant. Gilbert's your first name? Come on. But Gilbert, and then it echoes around the room. Gilbert. All throughout the arena, they were cheering on Gilbert Burns. Let's just break it down. Round 1. Mike Malott's kind of tinted all on the feet. Gilbert Burns doesn't really know when to blitz him, but, it's even on strikes. Malott's landing the better, heavier shots, but, Burns would get, like a low kick into a body shot into his overhand and kind of making it scrappy, And I was saying, I'm scared for Malott past round 3. Rounds 4 and 5, championship rounds, if he doesn't put him away by then, it could get dicey. And it was looking like it was going to go that way. If Gilbert Burns was getting knocked out in the third, it could have gotten a little difficult for Malott in the third or in the fourth and fifth, but we won't find out. But yeah, Gilbert Burns starting to find that leg kick. Malott's landing some good shots. His first couple shots in round 1, he's kind of hitting the guard of Burns, but as you see in rounds 2 and 3, he starts to learn to loop it even further to get around that high guard of Burns. And then round 2, does he drop him? No, he doesn't. Again, pretty even. More leg kicks from Burns, round 1. Only 3 and 2. They were kind of being cautious. And then round 2, Burns steps up on the low kicks. 9 low kicks. Some headshots, Malott was doing a lot to the head, a lot on the guard, though. But like I said, Burns was chewing up that lead leg in round 2. And then round 3, Burns was trying to do the same thing. I think at the end of round 2, Burns got caught with like a nasty uppercut. Quick, just uppercut right through the guard because Burns likes to dip and duck. He likes to do his dip down, right overhand, left hook, right to the body. He likes to dip in or do that 1-1-2 or 1-1 overhand right while he dips in. And Mike Malott goes, this guy shows up a lot by going like this. So Mike Malott just hits a perfectly timed uppercut in round 2, kind of smacks Gilbert Burns up, his head up, and Mike Malott goes, that's the money shot. I just need to hit that one more time, and it should be good. So Gilbert Burns kind of survives from that uppercut, kind of scatters left and right, like a cockroach. Mike Malott in round 2 basically turned the light on in the kitchen, and Gilbert Burns was the cockroach in the middle of the floor. So he skitters underneath the fridge, survives, makes it to round 3, and then round 3 is just... Gilbert Burns is just a little too... He just is too tentative, too scared to throw stuff. And by that point, Malott's just going to hit you with an uppercut. Drops Gilbert Burns. Gilbert Burns works his way back up. He's back up. Gilbert Burns is going to work his way back in. Right hook around the guard. Just around the guard. Sits Burns down against the fence. Burns is looking up going, not again. Gets ground and pound TKO. A couple back of the head shots for Mike Malott. Send Burns with some extra CTE on the way out. Love to see it. But yeah, decent one for Mike Malott. 3 rounds to KO Burns. And I know you're going to have some people going, dude, Burns literally was a minute 30 seconds away from taking JDM's soul. Yeah, 2 years ago. 2 years ago he was. 2 years ago when he was coming off of one loss to Bilal Muhammad where he took no damage. He got kneed to the face from JDM, elbowed, then got elbowed into that TKO. Then he had Brady ragdoll him. Then he had Morales just beat him up and knock him out in the first. And now you have Malott just KO him. He's not the same guy. And he was still picking apart Malott on the feet. A competent striker is going to have a field day with Malott. He's just not too technically good, you know. He's got some power and he's got some sting. I said the same thing twice, power and sting. He's got some power and he's got some good jiu-jitsu. Decent jiu-jitsu. He is a black belt. But not enough for, like, I think a JDM would have a field day with Mike Malott. I would worry for Mike Malott against a D-Rod. The only thing is that D-Rod would probably come swinging in and get clipped by Mike Malott on the come in. But, Prates, of course, puts this guy away. Ian Gary puts this guy away. I don't know who Mike Malott would beat up in the rankings right now. Let's look at the welterweight rankings. So Mike Malott, he's probably going to be what? Gilbert Burns was 11. He'll be like 11, 12, maybe 10. Best case scenario. He can maybe beat Leon or Edwards. He can maybe beat Leon Edwards. But I'm hearing talks of a Leon Edwards Daniel Rodriguez fight. Maybe he beats a Kamaru Usman. He has some decent takedown defense against Burns in this fight, so maybe he could beat a Usman. Maybe he could beat like a Sean Brady. And then maybe Bilal. Those are the only people I think he could beat. Bilal, Brady, and Usman. But like a competent striker is going to have a field day with Mike Malott. But yeah, good win for Mike Malott. Burns retires. No retirement package for Burns. And I said this on Twitter tonight. Someone goes like, so I said Michael Chiesa got a retirement package. Anthony Smith got a retirement package. Gilbert Burns doesn't. And the guy goes, dude, you should have known that Burns wouldn't get a retirement package. He didn't specify he was going to retire, so how would they know? Gilbert Burns is almost 40. He turns 40 in a couple months. And before coming into this fight, he was on a 4-fight losing streak and he's put against not young, he's like 34, but up-and-comer, heavy power puncher, Mike Malott. In his hometown, in Canada, in the main event. And you're telling me, well, we don't know if Burns would retire. The likelihood of him getting knocked out is pretty high. Of him losing and being on a 5-fight losing streak is pretty high. Of him being unranked after this is pretty high. I don't know if any fighter who's been ranked wants to leave and retire as an unranked fighter, personally. But I think you're retarded if you think that they couldn't make a quick, easy little video for Burns. I feel like any fighter at this point, like Wonderboy, his next fight, you better have a retirement video ready for him. Even because if he wins, he's going to keep on going. If he loses, he's probably going to call it quits. With all these older fighters, I think you should know, hey, let's have this retirement package ready just in case. It's not going to take you too much to put in a retirement video and have it at the ready. Is it going to kill you to do that? But yeah, Gilbert Burns loses. I end up becoming 6-5. I said Mike Malott would win by decision. He got it done via KO in round 3. I said Charles Jourdain would get a second-round submission. He got a decision. I said Jai Herbert would get a decision. He got a KO. I said Jasmine Judah-Vicious would get a round 2 submission. She got a decision. I said Gage Young would get a decision. He got a decision. I said Mauricio Barbosa would get a decision. I thought Dennis Buzukja would have some pushback, but no. He got KO'd. The fight of the night was Jourdain Phillips. That's deserved. Performance of the night was Mike Malott. And performance of the night was Mauricio Barbosa. That's deserved. Robert Valentin could have gotten something. I went with, and then here, I went Julian LeBlanc, decision. I went with Tanner Bosner, decision. I went with Daria Zelenikova, decision. Jamie Lynn Horth, decision. I went with John Castaneda, decision. He basically got it. And then I went with Jamie Siraj, round 2, submission. So like I said, 6-5 if you don't count the draw. If you count the draw, I'm 6-6. But, draws are null. They're null. So I'm 6-5-1. I'm like a Trayshawn Gore. Wait a minute. I'm Trayshawn Gore in this division, pal. But yeah, decent fight night, pretty fun. I had some chatters in my live chat. Only one at a time, never two people, never three people, and they would always leave after 10 minutes because of how charismatic I am. But I had some fun. Had some fun. Put on the beanie to honor Guru. I put on the beanie. Guru, R.I.P. dude. R.I.P. But like I said, I'll hold down the fort for us. Me and Guru, I'm holding down the fort. So don't worry. Guru, take your time, dude. I'll hold down the fort. But yeah, decent fight night. Not the best, not the worst. Next week is Sterling Zalao, which is pretty fun, and then we have JDM Prates after that, and then Strickland Chimaev. I'm picking Strickland. I just want to let you know. I know you're probably not anyone. No one's watching, but I am picking Sean Strickland to beat Hamza Chimaev, and I am picking Joshua Van to beat Tatsuro Taira. One of those has to be right. There's no way both of them can be wrong. Anyways, don't be funny. Make some money. Buy the numbers. Peace out.